Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, David Brooks, powered by Contractor Rhino, your go-to source for all your digital marketing and accounting needs in the trades. For this episode, we have a returning special guest with us, and I'll allow him to reintroduce himself.
Hi, folks. My name is Rob Bruce, and I'm co-founder of Contractor Foreman construction management software. I've got about 35 years experience in the trades, started out literally digging ditches and worked my way up to construction manager, project manager on $20+ million public works type projects. And we started Contractor Foreman because there was just nothing out there for contractors to use that was reasonably priced, easy to use, not difficult to start. And I just love coming on these podcasts, talking to David, sharing my experiences, David and I trading ideas, and hopefully helping you all out.
All right. Well,
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back. Repeat performance.
Yes. So for this conversation, we'll be talking about hiring and the challenges around hiring and attracting good talent. And then, once you do get someone into your organization to be able to help train them, put the right systems in place. And Rob has a lot of years of experience in hiring, and we're just going to dig in a little deeper because that seems to be a pain point around the industry as a whole in the hiring process and the challenges that come along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hiring is almost one of the most expensive, time-consuming things you're going to do as a contractor. And especially if you haven't done much hiring in the past. Maybe you've hired some people out in the field, and that's a little different than hiring somebody that's going to be, say, a new project manager because you've been following Contractor Rhino's advice and going with their program, and now you're growing and you got to get some more people in the office. And hiring those people in the office is a very delicate balance, I guess you might say. But there's a lot of pitfalls to watch out for because hiring somebody is not the magic button. You interview a few people, you find somebody you like, you plug them in, and you think your workload's going to go down, and suddenly you hired somebody to take stuff off your plate, but all of a sudden your plate is even fuller than it was before your hire. And then you're sitting there wondering, well, what happened? What went wrong? I was already working 12 hours a day. Now I hired somebody and I'm working 14 hours a day. Well, that wasn't supposed to be. So there's a number of things you can do on the front end to get ready to hire somebody, but also to be aware of after you've hired them to make that process. So instead of you working 12 hours a day and then 14 hours a day, you're working 12 hours a day and then hopefully 8 hours a day, like you really want to be doing. And that was the real goal, and do more business and be more profitable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty good place to start. One of the first pieces of advice I can give is you're not always going to get the perfect fit the first time around. And don't think that you have to keep that person around because you hired them. I'm not saying fire them on the third day if they're not perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're not experienced in hiring, it is very hard to find somebody that's a solid fit, gets along with everybody in the company, has the knowledge, has the skill set. They may have the knowledge and the skill set, but does it fit into the way you do business? And so when you're hiring and interviewing, you really want to have it laid out really well how you can explain how you do business and then determine if they understand that and can do business the way you do business. Everybody does it a little different. We all have little different processes and things. So it's one of the first ones, just make sure that the people you're interviewing anyway to start, that they understand what is really expected of them to be a good fit in the company, because they may be the one that steps up and says, I'm just not going to be a fit here. I'm sorry, but no, don't, I don't think I'm going to work out.
Mhm.
And don't worry about it. That's a win. You just won if somebody says that during an interview,
Mhm.
because now you just open the door for the right person to come in and fill that slot.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, highlighting what you said, you may not get it right the first time. And you have to be okay with that, that sometimes it doesn't work out the first time. And sometimes those expectations aren't there, or aren't talked about. So where the person is coming in, they have the proper expectations laid out in front of them. You could say a little bit and cover over the expectations as just like in the job description, but like what's the real expectations, the day-to-day, really digging in deep so that person is fully aware of what not only are they getting into, but what you're looking for too, also as well, because you're going to be looking for different things in that hire. And so for them to be able to know that, it's going to be able to help them succeed, to hit their benchmarks, and to be able to have the right expectations of what's really expected of them.
Absolutely. And that actually fits kind of nicely into my next point, because you've got to also give them room to grow, and also for yourself realize that you might be able to learn something from some of these people. If they've been out there being a project manager for you know more than 3 or 4 years, they probably got a pretty good skill set behind them, and they might just bring that value to the company, something that you hadn't thought of. So that's what I'm saying, that if you're not used to hiring and you haven't done much of it, hiring is a very delicate balance of finding that person that's going to bring some new skill sets to the company, but also can easily fit with your existing company and just step into that role. But again, remember, when you got somebody new, give them time to grow, and give them the time, the consideration to listen to them, trust them, because you hired them, so you should definitely be trusting them. Um, on and again, on the expectations of what you need, you want to be really clear. And in a little bit, we'll get into contractor foreman a bit. It doesn't matter what construction management system you're using. Of course, I'm going to recommend contractor foreman. It's a great system. But this sets the expectations when you have a construction management software in place, because it designates your workflow.
Mhm.
And now they're going to have to follow that workflow that is set up in the software program. If you just do everything on pencil and paper and Word and Excel, that is so hard for a new hire to come in and figure out. They'll spend months trying to figure it out, months before you get real productivity out of them. So be very clear on your expectations. Have the system set up that definitely let them win, um, and understand the process. And a construction management software, that's where you're setting up your workflows, and they're going to know exactly what tasks they're going to need to go in and take care of and do. So,
Yeah, setting them up with the right systems and having the right things in place so they don't lose their mind or they're not drinking from the firing hose as much.
right, right.
Definitely going to help them set them up for success, because if you don't have those things structured and organized, it's they're coming in and you're not ready for them, and they're trying to come in and do the job that they need to do, but they need the groundwork and the foundation laid out so they know where, at least where to start.
Right. And I'll just kind of say it this way: it's a different time than back when I started in especially public works, commercial construction, and talking about, let's tell you a funny story real quick, learning feeding from the fire hose. The very first job I ever had in public works, a pretty good sized company, very aggressive company, very established, experienced, respected company. They hired me for some reason, I don't know why, but they hired me as a project manager, and I reported for my first day of work. And the owner met me at the door in the lobby, shook my hand, said, "Let me show you to your office." And I didn't even know I was getting an office. Showed me this big, gorgeous, beautiful office, and he pointed out a few things in the office. And then he shook my hand and he said, "Good luck." And he walked out and closed the door. And that was my entry into public works construction. And oh, did I get beat up? Oh man, oh man, oh man, man, man. So just a kind of funny story there about feeding from the fire hose. It can work, but a lot of people aren't used to that. I'll say these days, so you got to be a little more careful there. Um, yeah, then I would say is kind of over relying on your new hire, especially if they're going to be in a management position. As you get ready to hire somebody, make sure that you've allowed yourself time to kind of walk them through the processes, work with them during the day. Don't think, well, I hired this person, they're sitting in the seat, they've got a cell phone and a computer. Now I'm going to go off and do all this stuff that I want to do. One, they're going to become more comfortable if you're there to walk them through the process, because they want to win. They want to win as bad as you want to win. Remember, so very few people are you going to hire that are going to say, "Well, I don't want to do very good in this job. I just want to survive in this job." No, people you're going to hire, they really do want to win. They do want to help your company grow. And the more time and attention you can give them, and that depends on the company, depends on their role, but that could last, if they're a upper level management person, that could be a 2 to 3 month process, tapering off at the end. But say for the first month, you're going to be spending a fair amount of time with them, kind of checking their work, showing them what the next steps are. Talked about software a little bit and making sure that they're getting the proper training on the software. That one, being in the software industry, boy, we see that all the time. We hear from employees that say, "I'm so frustrated with this. I don't know what to do. My boss just bought this and dropped it in my lap and said, use it." Not not going to have a big success rate that way. You're just not. And that's why we offer free training, Contractor Foreman. So those employees don't have to get trained from their company. They can come to us, and we'll train them for the company. But yeah, I kind of hate to use the word hand holding, but it really is hand holding. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, that hand holding, that walking them through. And it's great to be able to have that, support, especially for software, to be able to help walk team members through the software and the different nuances and things. Because, as the owner and someone else inside of the company, you may not have all that time available to sit down and go over every detail of the software and piece of information, and then have that time for feedback and questions. So to be able to have that is really important, and it's just being able to help set up the person for success.
and another big one for setting your company up for success, and everybody else in your company, if you already have other employees, um, bring everybody in on that hiring process. You might do the first interview, but then maybe do a second interview and bring your other employees in on that second interview. It doesn't go over well when people walk in Monday morning and you go, "Hey, everybody, here's Bob, our new project manager."
Mhm.
It's just not a good way to start off the week, because everybody feels a little alienated. Bob feels a little alienated because he picks up on that everybody else is uncomfortable. So make even starting at the decision to hire somebody, even if you got one other person that works at your company, or two or three, uh, bring everybody in on that decision to hire somebody, and then bring everybody in on the decision of who that person is going to be, because they have to get along with everybody in the company. That's a cultural fit. And we see that a lot at construction companies. So it's a big part of when we hire at Contractor Foreman. Got about 85 employees, people working for the company, contractors, et cetera. But even a contractor, everybody involved in working with that contractor is going to get a say so in who's being hired. It is a truly company decision, not just an owner's decision.
Mhm. Yeah, you have to get buy-in from the team, get their opinion, and not just spring a new person on them. Say, here's the new person, here's the new hire. They're going to be running this, doing this, and everybody's like, "Oh, I wasn't even aware that we were bringing someone on," or they would have loved to meet that person beforehand. And so, get like you said, getting them involved in that process. So at least if they come in and they get and if you're not around, you have to step out, you have to do something, they can kind of relate. Oh, I talked to this person before my interview. Let me go over to them and see what information or knowledge I can get from them, or what help or assistance. But if they just know one person and one person only, it's kind of like, okay, well, you leave me here for a minute, and now who do I go to? Who do I talk to?
Yep, yep. And one on the, I don't know about the flip side of that, but certainly an adder to that is take the feedback from your other employees on the new hire, because they're working with them day to day, minute by minute, and they're going to have ideas, and they're going to say, hey, Frank could really use some help in this area. I talked to him about this, and he just wasn't aware we did it that way, so we should give him a little bit more training on that. So literally ask for, and sincerely take the feedback from your employees when they're working with a new hire, um, because they're going to do a lot of the training for you. Really, that's just going to happen kind of organically. Um, so definitely listen to everybody else in the company on getting feedback for the new hire.
Mhm. And that feedback is vitally important, because they're going to be able to give suggestions, give recommendations, but also just help assist where your plate might be full, and they could come in and offer the assistance to be able to kind of help guide that person, or be kind of like a mentor, buddy system of, hey, for your general questions. You can come to me if you need clarification on things, if it isn't around, and they may have some systems and processes or some documentation that they've already started creating that may be helpful for the new hire too as well. So yeah, definitely looping in everyone that's possible to that hiring process is definitely important.
And that actually made me think of one other step, and maybe I should have brought that up earlier, but when they're working with that buddy system that you're talking about, but also then tie into that a slow transfer of duties. So
Mhm.
you got the buddy system, you got the shadow system where they're shadowing somebody, and slowly hand off these duties to the new person. That gets you away again from that fire hose, drinking from the fire hose thing we started off podcast talking about. Um, and that way that allows them to do two things. It allows a new hire to ask questions, and it allows a new hire to provide feedback on maybe there's a better way to do it,
Mhm.
because they have time to do that. You know, there's so many things at Contractor Foreman that I've got a notepad about 2 feet thick, I think now, of these little ideas that pop into my head, but I never have time to quite do them or implement them because we're all just too busy. Um, and the same thing with a new hire. Don't make them so busy that they can't provide feedback.
Mhm.
You're growing, you're going to be hiring more people as time goes by, and you want to develop that culture from the ground up of everybody having some feedback into the company. So,
Yes, I love
and don't micromanage. Don't
yeah.
micromanage. If you're not sure what I mean by micromanage, look it up. Watch a podcast on micromanaging. Maybe we'll do one, but
Right.
yeah, make sure you're not micromanaging. If you micromanage, that's just telling people that you don't trust them,
Hmm.
and that does not make for a happy family.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah, please be careful of micromanaging.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you really hit a couple of nails on the head there. What micromanaging, that's a whole nother podcast within itself. But not giving them so much where they can't come up for air. And that's really and truly important where they're trying to learn all these things, the nuances, the ins and outs of the day to day, how everybody works, who's who. But they're going to slow down their potential growth inside of their position if they're just constantly bogged down by work and they don't have the opportunity to get the general concept or processes or how things should go first before fully diving into, hey, I'm actually going to be able to execute all this work very effectively and efficiently.
Another one that a lot of people forget about, or not even forget about, they don't realize, and especially in construction, it's reputation, reputation, reputation.
Hmm.
And if you hire somebody and you don't have the expectations set, if you don't work with them to let them learn the ways of your company, guide them, listen to them, train them properly, bring the whole company on board, think about it. If they quit in a month, okay, you're gonna start the whole process all over again, and you just wasted all that time.
Hmm.
But almost just as worse, they now have an impression of your company, and it's probably not a good one. And they're in construction, and they're going to go talk to other companies because they're looking for a job,
Hmm.
and it's going to spread like wildfire. If that happens 2 or 3 times when you hire somebody, you've now got a reputation on the street for being impossible to work with.
Hmm.
And you're not going to get the top-notch people because the reputation on the street, hey, Acme Construction, man, they're messed up, they're disorganized, they micromanage, they're not prepared, they didn't have anything set up, blah blah blah, whatever they're going to say. But you're going to get a bad reputation. Might not even be true. It might be just you were too busy and whatnot, and hired at the wrong time, didn't prepare for the whatever, and you're an excellent company.
Hmm.
But you've now got 2 or 3 people out there on the street talking smack about you,
Hmm.
and that reputation grows like wildfire. And you don't want that, obviously.
Hmm.
That type of rep, it's a hard one to overcome,
It
because
is.
that trickles down to customers, because then they're out talking to clients, potential clients, and they're like, oh, you're going to get a bid from Acme Construction. Oh, geez, let me tell you a story about those guys.
Hmm.
Oops.
Hmm.
So hiring is a lot more critical component than a lot of people really realize. It definitely goes deep.
Yeah,
So
it really goes truly deep, and it's a sentiment with what you just said, and just that reputation. I remember a company where the owner would kind of just berate the staff, talk down to the staff, and was just really brutal and really rough, and it just got to be a really toxic environment. And eventually, over the course of time that just spread and word got out, and it got to the point where they had a relative also inside of the business, and a relative took over the business just
mm,
because the reputation of the owner just got to be so bad, and there was just so much negative out there that they just were saying, okay, well, you know, you don't have to worry about that because we have a new person kind of being the face of the company, overseeing things.
mm.
But you definitely don't want that to happen to your organization. And then, like you said, word can get out to your customers too, as well, or potential customers.
Did we work for the same company a while back or what?
Yeah.
Because I, uh, I had a story, I had a story like that, and it almost in a way, I don't know, worse, but maybe definitely at least different. But what happened, and it got bad. And because there was one person that was doing some of the new hire, and they were doing some of the training and management, et cetera. The company was a great company. There was just one person that was real bad. One person did complain to an attorney, and the attorney swooped in on that, kind of a ambulance chaser type attorney.
Mm.
And that company, I think they right off the bat they had to pay like 60,000 in damages. I
Mm.
mean, like write the check right then, or they were that attorney was going to come after him, and then that person had to sign a contract that they would have nothing to do. They could run the company, but they couldn't have anything to do with hiring or managing employees.
Mm.
And that was a company that was trying to grow. It was only about 2.5, 3 years old or something at the time, but they were trying to break into commercial public works construction, and that hurt them bad. And it was just the one person. So we all have our horror stories, and you just want to make sure that you don't want to become a horror story.
Mhm.
And it could be inadvertent. You didn't mean to. You really didn't. But it can go that way if you're not preparing well for hiring.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
I agree. With that, it could be a costly mistake, and you don't want that.
so, and costly mistake is going through, even if nothing bad happens, going through three people in 3 or 4 months.
Hmm.
Because that whole 3 months, you didn't really move ahead. You
Hmm.
actually went behind because you had to put all that time into the hiring, the training, et cetera. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it'd be interesting just to get what kind of feedback we get on what questions folks might come up with on hiring practices. So
Yeah,
possibly help
let's
more.
yeah, listeners, as you're listening into this episode, please feel free to reach out and let us know your questions that you have around hiring or even your experiences. We would love to hear them and gain that additional data and insight. We're all trying to work together and be able to help each other overcome various obstacles, be able to better ourselves individually and better others. So we definitely all the information and data that we can gather, the more better we'll all end up.
Would now be a good time to jump into a little bit of construction management software?
Yes, let's jump into it.
Yeah, unless there's something else you want to cover, or we can just cover it kind of all at the same time. But yeah, give me a second here. And really, it's just going to be adding some, I guess, call it visuals to really what we've been talking about. Now, of course, like I said, I'm going to show off Contractor Foreman. Um, but here's why, especially when we're talking about the new hires, how this is going to help you do that training, set the expectations, because you're going to have the policies and the procedures in place for them to follow. So there really won't be much of a question. Um, Now we're just looking at the main dashboard in Contractor Foreman here. So each user, when they log in, takes them to their own dashboard. I'm not going to spend more than a second here, but it's kind of your day planner, things like that. So tons of widgets. You build out your own dashboard for each person. Up here's the main menu. And I don't know why it popped in my head. I'm just going to jump into change orders. So you've hired this new foreman, maybe superintendent, project manager, whatever you want to call them, and one of their duties is taking care of change orders and managing them. So in change orders, I'm going to jump into that module here. Get back to the main menu in a bit. Got a little dashboard here that shows you the status and everything. Maybe it's taking a little bit to load there. Let me just open up a change order. And here, so when that person's going to do their very first change order, you've already got all this set up and they're just going through and filling out fields. That's all they're doing.
Mhm.
So now you don't have to do a whole lot of training because you have a Word document or an Excel document that can get messed up if somebody changes a field or a formula or something. You're going to add items to the change orders here. You're going to add in your markup, all that. So I'm going to say, of equipment. What is it? Item type. So it's equipment. There's the cost code, typing in all your different costs, your markups, things like that. So whatever it is, you're going to set up in Contractor Foreman. Let me drop down the main menu. Like I said, I'll get back to this in a bit. Got a zillion modules here in the system, but you turn modules off based off of employee role, even individual employees. So somebody could log into Contractor Foreman and just see time cards, change orders, the schedules, to-dos, inspections, and punch lists. So instead of seeing all 38 modules or whatever, they're just going to see 5. But that makes it real easy for them. Now, you don't, again, you've set the expectation. You're going to fill out an inspection this way. You're going to do a punch list this way. When we go to pull and track permits, we're going to do it this way. So the whole system is there and set up for you. And then for the benefit of you, the owner of the company, Contractor Foreman, and most other systems as well, they are a job costing system. So as you set up your estimates, it creates budgets for your material, labor, equipment, things like that. Contractor Foreman then sets up a project, but as you're doing all your financials, it's generating all of your job cost reports, which is under reports. So again, having a system like this, by defining the role, by turning modules off in Contractor Foreman, makes it easier and faster for them to learn. But also you've defined that role. You've given them not just the expectations, but you've given them a tool that helps them do it correctly, because they have to fill out certain fields. If they have a miscellaneous expense out in the field, then they're going to fill out a miscellaneous expense, and it's going to automatically job cost to the system. So they can only fill out a miscellaneous expense one way. So again, this is what the things that you want to have in place before you hire somebody. Or maybe you're hiring somebody to help you choose a construction management system. But if you're in any kind of a growth, then, and you don't have a construction management system, definitely get one before you take too many more steps forward. Probably gonna have to build some new habits, get rid of some old habits, learn a few new tricks, but it isn't that hard. And believe me, in my 35 years of experience, I couldn't imagine running a construction company without a tool, something at least like Contractor Foreman. So
Yeah, that tool Contractor Foreman is it'll make it seamless, right? Just coming in, being able to have that interface easy to use, having that information be there, and really, that system, all the features inside of it's going to be able to just make things in life a whole much easier, very cost effective, and you get away from that pen and paper also too as well. And training your new hire on a system like this, you have that supportive contractor foreman willing to come on and take that off your plate.
and nowadays, when you're hiring people, I know I'm old, but you're kind of hiring that younger generation who doesn't shy away from software. They expect it. So when you're interviewing somebody, you got to think about this. You may really want to hire them, but they're interviewing with other companies. So you don't have a construction management system like Contractor Foreman, but the construction company down the street does. Now they're probably going to they're going to accept the job offer from the company that has a construction management system, because they know that company is organized, up to date, fully modernized, has all the tools that they need to be successful. So without having a system like this, you're also making it harder to hire people. In Contractor Foreman, you are taking something from a lead, or maybe you call it a prospect, but from a lead, finishes it all the way from a lead or a prospect all the way through to project closeout, even through the warranty period. So when you're looking at a system, make sure that it is one software that can take something from the lead or prospect and run it all the way through even that warranty closeout period, at least the year period following project completion. So make sure that it does have the scheduling, all the daily reports, all these little things. People, you don't think about these kind of things sometimes when you're looking at software. You don't think about, geez, I can track my inspections and see what the status of all my inspections are. And I can send out all my punch list items. So if a sub has 5 items on a project, boom, I hit a button and it just emails the sub their 5 items on that project. So take some time, learn about construction management systems. Don't just get one demo and buy from the first person or company that demos you. Get at least 3, if not 5. And I know that's a lot of time, but it's an important decision because on average, somebody stays with a construction management system for 7 years. And if you don't get the right one, you're going to switch once or twice, just like a new hire. I guess that's one way to put it. It hadn't dawned on me until I just said that. Sometimes I'm a little slow. Yeah, I'm a little slow, but choosing a construction management system is just like hiring a new employee. You want to interview them 2, 3, 4 times. And if a company won't give you multiple demos, then walk away. If they want you to buy after the first, and I did it because in past years and experiences, I have sold construction management software, and I know there are companies out there that they just show you 5 screens and then ask you for your credit card. Company does that, just run. We give you 30 days for free. You can sign up for Contractor Foreman, and get the full program. It's not a stripped down version. Sign up for Contractor Foreman, and during that 30 days, we give you all the help in the world you could ever need to make sure that it's the right fit. If you don't like it within that 30 days, you can just cancel it, and there's no charge, no harm, no foul. We go our separate ways. There's no such thing as a perfect software. And we don't claim to be good fit for a lot of people. But yeah, it really is. Picking a construction management software is just like hiring a new person. Plan it out, take your time, make sure that you do it right, because you don't want to do it twice. Because then you got all your data in that old system, right? You got a bunch of data in there. Now where does that data go? Uh-oh, can't get my data back. Now I just lost 4 months of data that's in that old system that I couldn't use anymore because I didn't do my due diligence in picking a software. And speaking of that, I didn't say that because we don't hold your data hostage or anything. With Contractor Foreman, you can get your data out at any time. Even after, if you were with Contractor Foreman for 4 years, 5 years, whatever, and you decided to go with somebody else, you can still get all your data out of Contractor Foreman. So you don't lose anything if you decide to go somewhere else. That's just a horrible situation I ran in my past days, years, jobs, lives, etc. Saw companies do that, or they held the data hostage. I called it, oh, you want your data out? We'll look in the fine print, and yeah, we'll give you your data back for $5,000. I mean, that's what people were doing back in the 90s and early 2000s. $5,000 to get your data back? Are you nuts? That's a scam. That's just a scam. So
Yeah, use a system, use a system, a platform like Contractor Foreman. Really go with a reputable company, like you said, not just going to show you a few screens and want you to sign up. Not going to hold your data hostage. Sidebar: we don't hold your data hostage either at Contractor, right? The data is yours if you ever decide to leave and go off on your own endeavor. But make sure you really fully vet your choices. So whether that's software, whether that's in hiring, And just remember some of these things that we talked about and these lessons learned in this episode. Don't be kicking yourself too much if you don't get it right the first time, but really look into thoroughly asking the right questions, setting the right expectations, getting the different team members involved, having the right systems and processes set up to allow the person to be successful, and allow them room to grow and not just throw everything on their plate all at one time, or just as Rob had it, close the door, get the door closed on them and say, "Okay, here's a branch off. It's all yours. Take it from here." So
Good
just
luck, sucker.
yeah, right. Good. So just remember all those different things to our listeners. And Rob, any parting words?
Um, a couple of quick things to make at Contractor Foreman. We love to help you be successful. We're not just selling software. We're helping you become a successful construction company. Just a couple of quick ways we do it. I love to teach, coach, mentor. I do it all the time. And in Contractor Foreman, every module, I'll just quickly drop this down. So in every single module, um, is a built-in training video. And there's a little video icon right there. So you can click on in any module, click the training video. And my point is, I do all the training videos in Contractor Foreman. I have since day one, and that's something I'll probably never give up because it's kind of my passion to help you become a better contractor. And so I do the training videos a little bit different than a lot of people are used to. It's kind of hard to describe, but get a lot of great feedback on our training videos. The other thing I just wanted to show you real quick, if you don't mind, David, for just a minute or two, because I'll pull something up here. When you're out there looking for construction management software, you're going to find them priced all over the place. Okay. Contractor Foreman, we're not trying to gouge you. We're not trying to retire off 10 sales. So as an example, just looking at our highest package right there, unlimited, breaks down to $249 a month. We do charge by the year. That's one way we keep our pricing down. So let's say we do charge by the year, but broken down it's $249 a month. Probably our closest competitor to that package on the market today is charging over $1,000 a month. And we're at $249 a month. And that's everything included. There's nothing else to spend money on. We don't nickel and dime. We hate price creep. I think in 8 years we've had 3 price increases. So it's not something where you, oh, look at that. I can sign up for, it's only going to break down to $249 a month, and then 2 months later that jumps to $500 on you. We do not do that. And you're guaranteed that price for life. So if you sign up for any plan, 5 years from now, you're paying the exact same amount. You're immune to price increases. So I'll show you there. Price lock guaranteed there. So everything's free. I mean, training is free, storage is free, everything. So no limits. We don't limit you to 10 projects or 5 employees or nothing. There's no limits on the system. I want to clarify that a little bit because the packages are defined by users allowed for the most part. So there's the users allowed there, but different packages for different size companies. But yeah, so make sure you do a good comparison. That's all I'm saying. Check into all that. So no, I don't know. I hope we do get some kind of great feedback and questions on the hiring thing because it is such a huge topic and it can make or break a company. It really can. And we want to help where we can. So let us know how we can help.
Excellent. Well said, Rob. Yeah, listeners, if you have again, if you need any help around hiring, software management, systems, training processes, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help. And we appreciate you listening to this episode. Make sure you tune into the next one. Till next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors. We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.